Hunter Knight Customs.
Your angel of death awaits.
Basically, the Phantasm was a project that I took for a customer, and but he wanted like the real, like the male buff looking Phantasm, which is considerable. I mean, I understand, because the character, when he's not revealed to be Andrea Beaumont, is basically a buff character. But I also wanted to make like the female version of Andrea Beaumont, which is like, you know, however the DC Universe bodies available are always like very thin, frail. This universe has had great beautiful you know, sculpts and bodies, but the problem with them is that I don't think they never got the female one right, and the only one that so far has gotten the female body right was Marvel Legends. You know, Andrea can't be a small thin character. I mean, she's an assassin, so she has to have certain, you know, weight to the character. Besides, she has to look like a frightening, you know, like a frightful character when she's in costume. So that balance was very difficult to achieve using a DC Universe body. Again, I mean, I looked, but no, none of them were working. The weight of the cowl, the whole thing with the cape, would have been too much, and the figure would have been falling down on her ass all the time. So I really had to go with another one, and that's when I found the Marvel Legends version of the female body, which is a bit buff in my opinion, but for Andrea it's perfect. You know, the thighs, I mean, if you look at it with the whole thing, she has like the huge thighs and all that, but she's still feminine without being too you know, buff, and I think it works perfect for this character. So I started making the customer's project to be like the male version of the Phantasm, kind of like a Carl Beaumont type of you know, version. So we went up and started to sculpt the mask from scratch, because none of the existing bodies were like you know, I couldn't really do something like that if I was to use an existing mask. I mean, the Kenner sculpt 1994 or 5, it was good. It was a good toy. I just, you know, I had it and I loved it. I played with it until, you know, like the arms fell off, I think. But I could not use it, because if you check the images, if you check the reference material, then you see that some of the features had to be more, you know, like more phantasmagoric, more like creepy, you know. So I had to start from scratch. I initially wanted to make a cast of the figure, of the face, but when I used it, it was not working. So I had to, even the face has to be done from scratch, the visage of the Phantasm and everything. But, you know, my customer wanted just a figure, like non-removable cowl and all that, so I was like, oh man, this is an opportunity to make something different. So I went up and I did the female version with a removable cowl and the swappable head. Just like the, I mean, like the logistics of making the toy, you know, in the right proportions would not allow me to actually put the cowl in, you know, without removing it. So I had to do it like, you know, like a swappable head, a swappable hand. And the only part that I can, you know, due to scale, because I compared scales, and for the female version it worked. The gauntlet from the old Kenner figure, I had like several of them that I bought over the years, so I used that one, but I gave it a bit of a touch, you know, like I filled up the gap that it had. Usually, you know, it comes with a gap, so you can, you know, like the hand can go. I got rid of that. I just sculpted it, you know, I filled up the gap. Also, the face was also very, very paramount for this figure to work. You know, I couldn't find one in the DC Universe, and even if I had, the face wouldn't have worked. The proportions of the heads on the DC Universe are very small, you know, kind of like proportional to the skinny body. So I could not use that. I had to use the, I went up and I was like, I'm using Marvel body, I might as well go with a Marvel head. I'm not a fan of using, you know, straight up characters, you know, like without modifying the features. I usually, when I use the face or the head of a character, I like to modify the nose, modify the chin, so it doesn't look like a carbon copy with a different hair, you know. But on this case, I had to break my rule. The Hope Summers head was a perfect match for Andrea Beaumont. I mean, I just picture her with the red lips, kind of like a more angry type of, you know, like the black eyebrows, the correct hair, you know, and I at that point I knew that that was gonna work. I was able to translate the concept of the old, like the small Kenner toy, and I'm really happy with that figure. And the customer, of course, is real pleased with this version. For the scythe, on the male version, the Kenner one wasn't working, so it was very small. It looked like, you know, silly stupid. So we had to, you know, like make one from scratch. What I did was I took the original design and proportions of the Kenner figure, and what I did was I carved the scythe, I carved the knot, you know, like the pointy blades, on styrene, the thing, and I sculpted the gauntlet out of epoxy, Ace epoxy sculpt. After that was only a matter of choosing color schemes, you know, like as close as the animation or the toy as possible. Yeah, there has been some iterations of her in the comic books, so you know, they had the red eyes, they had the orange eyes, I believe. So I had to, like, I went for the most classic one because that's the one I saw in the movie. So that's what I did. The Batman animated series is like, whoa, I'm a huge fan. I was raised on, you know, animated Batman and all that, the Kevin Conroy voice. I loved it, and when I saw that movie, I knew I had to have an action figure of that character. When I was a kid, I bought the Kenner one, and that was my actually first Kenner Batman action figure, because I bought with my because I had another one that was bought. I mean, my mother bought for me, but the first one I bought with my own money was Andrea Beaumont. I still have that one. I think it should be somewhere in there. Like, yeah. It was a fun project to work on, and I hope I had more like that, because I love Batman animated series, you know, and those figures that are being put out by DC Collectibles are amazing. I love them. I love them all. I want them all. All right.